This all started when I suspected my brother-in-law was visiting my home when I wasn't around. I noticed my favorite snacks and beer were missing from the refrigerator. Sometimes an entire 6 case of beer is missing. My wife doesn't drink or eat those type of snacks. I have an exhausting job, so when I come back home from work, I like to relax on my couch, drink my beer, and watch TV after a long day. The reason why I knew it was my brother-in-law is because he has a history of coming over and eating everything in my refrigerator. He's my wife's younger brother, and he lives a few blocks away from us. I have gotten into several arguments with my wife because of him coming over and eating my food, and she would always take his side. She would make sarcastic comments, saying that I'm being petty. She would do things like go to the store and buy 10 times the beer and snacks that I need just to prove a point, that I'm being petty. She doesn't understand that it's not all about the snacks or the beer. Forget the comfort and the sanctity of a man's home. It's about the principle of returning home and finding your things the way you left them. She will say that I'm selfish. She knew that word triggers me a lot because my ex-wife calls me selfish and divorced me and took my kids. I am always on time with child support and I don't even get to see my kids that often because she moved to another state. I would admit that I'm a little OCD sometimes and don't like people messing with my stuff. However, I don't see anything wrong with me not wanting people to come around, family or not, and mess with my stuff, especially in my own home. I am 30 and my wife is 28. We have been married for over 2 years. My wife is a high school basketball coach and have been doing that since she graduated college. I didn't go to college and I work as a heavy equipment operator. I work long hours and sometimes I won't be home till 7 or 8 p.m. She's my second marriage and I have 2 kids from my previous marriage. My ex-wife have primary custody of my 2 children and she lives in another state, and I don't get to see my kids as much as I would have liked. I met my current wife on a dating app. We started dating right after I got divorced from my ex-wife and sold our home. I moved in with my current wife because she already had a home, and at that time I was living at a motel when I separated from my ex-wife. The first year of our marriage was the honeymoon phase, and after that year we started having problems. Our bedroom life started to slow down. She seemed disinterested with being intimate and would turn me down when I initiate. We went from being intimate 4 times a week to barely doing it once a week. Additionally, I got tired of her family members interfering with our marriage, and she would also take their side in any argument. About 6 months ago, I got into a big fight with my wife because I got tired of her brother coming over to my house and raiding my refrigerator, eating all my stuff. So I went to his house and got into it with him. Well, my wife got wind of it, and we got into a huge fight. After the fight, 3 things happened. My brother-in-law stopped showing up at our house, and my snacks and beer were where I left them after a long day. And after that, the relationship with my wife went from bad to worst. I spoke to my wife on several occasions about fixing our bedroom life and how our marriage is going downhill, but she would always be dismissive. She claimed that I was controlling and selfish, and I have anger problems, and that I was the only one who needs counseling. And she was the same person that I got married to. Then, 2 months ago, I noticed that my snacks and beer started missing again. This time, I didn't think it was my brother-in-law because he was too scared to come around my house. And even if it was him, I didn't want to confront him without evidence because I didn't want to get into it with my wife again. So I decided to buy a hidden camera and install it in my living room. It was one of those 4K UHD Wi-Fi Security 90 camera, the functional RCA clock radio. The camera is so conspicuous and there was no way an untrained eye could know it was a camera. The camera was looking over my living room and the kitchen, and it's motion activated. I also bought a 400 gig micro SD card that stores footage for almost a week, since it only records when the motion is activated. After a week of installing the camera, I kept checking on my phone whenever the motion is activated, but all I saw was my wife going about her day. I even forgot all about the camera. The SD memory recycles every week or so. After a little over 2 months of installing the camera, I came back from work and noticed about 12 cases of beer are missing. So I unlocked my phone and opened the app. To my surprise, I saw a boy that looked like he was still in high school. He walked around my house that I share with my wife like he's been there several times. Went to my bedroom, and I was sure he was intimate with my wife in my bedroom. Minutes after he went to the bedroom, he ran out with his shorts on to get something from the refrigerator, and then returned back to the room. After what seemed like eternity, my wife came out of the room without her bra on and got some ice from the fridge and went back into the bedroom. I was stunned. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was so sick to my stomach. I figured this was one of her students. This is so sick. I had so many questions. My wife was home at the time I saw this video. I went into the bedroom and immediately confronted her. She claimed that it was just one of her students that she was helping with his homework. I responded by asking her if our bedroom was her classroom and if she normally helps her student without her bra on. She went silent. She started begging me to forgive her. I told her that we have passed the forgiveness phase and that our marriage is over. She begged me not to leave her, and I went into the bedroom to pack my things. The house was more of hers than mine. She owned the house when I got married to her. She just added me to the deed, and I was helping her with the mortgage payment. After packing my bags, I changed my mind and decided to stay in the house for the night. She was crying and begging me not to leave her. She claimed that it only happened once, but I don't believe her. She confessed that the affair started after weeks of him begging her for alcohol and flirting with her. He wanted the alcohol for himself and his friends. She said that she refused at first but later gave in, and they soon started testing each other, and then that's how the affair started. I told her that she could go to jail for what she did and what got into her, and she said that she didn't know and that she was sorry. I slept on the couch that night and told her that our marriage is over. The following morning, she called in for work and was telling me that she was going to go counseling with me to fix our marriage, and now she knows how bad she has screwed up. I told her that we have passed that point and I have to get ready for work. While I was driving to work, I was feeling hurt and humiliated. For months, I've been hoping to fix our marriage and was hoping that things would get better, begging her for us to go to marriage counseling, but she refused and would just ignore me and say that I was the problem and that I was the only one that needs marriage counseling. I felt hurt and emotional. However, I knew that she has broken the law and I'm not going to hold this secret for her. So during our lunch break, I called her school, and after waiting on the phone for a few minutes, I reported her to the assistant superintendent. I knew my wife has committed a crime, and I'm not about to cover for her. She has refused every attempt I have given her to fix our marriage. She denied me her husband, and yet she carried a physical relationship with someone twice her junior in age, something she knew was a crime. She knew the risk and went on with it. About 3 hours after I placed that call to the assistant superintendent, my wife called me and told me that she has been arrested and is in jail, and I need to post a $15,000 bail for her. While on the phone, she blamed me for her predicament, asking me if I was happy now that she's in jail, like it was my fault that she slept with a minor. I hanged up on the phone on her and took that opportunity to move out of the house that day, and I filed for a divorce that week. Things actually went worse for me from then on. One of the most annoying things about that was that I was receiving constant phone calls from reporters and family members and friends asking me questions. My wife's mugshot was all over the news and even made it to some national news sites. My name was plastered all over it and it was totally embarrassing. People now look at me like I'm inadequate and I wasn't man enough to satisfy my wife, that she would go for someone that young. They acted like it was my fault that she committed a crime. If you ask me today if I did the right thing, I would say yes. But if I could go back in time, would I have reported it? No. I would have just divorced her and moved out of all this embarrassment. It has become so bad that most of my friends don't even want to hang out with me anymore. I am even considering quitting my job and skipping town.